Welcome to Innovation Views, the documentary series where we break down the forces shaping our world, from technology to trade, from politics to progress and lifestyle. In our very first episode, we turn to Switzerland, a country known for its neutrality, precision, and stability, suddenly facing the highest US tariffs of any developed nation, more than the European Union, more than the UK, even more than Canada. Why Switzerland? And what does this reveal about the changing rules of global trade? Let's find out. Let's unpack what's really going on and what choices this small but powerful nation has left. You know, when we talk about tariffs, most people's minds go to vague images of trade wars between the United States and China, not Switzerland. But here we are, watching a headline that feels more like a plot twist than an economic policy. The United States is slapping Switzerland with a tariff rate that's, let me put it this way, more than double the one they gave to the entire European Union. That's right, double, and it doesn't stop there. This rate is far steeper than what the UK is paying, steeper than Canada's, and wait for it, it's actually the highest tariff on any developed country. Pause with me here. Switzerland, a nation known for its precision, its neutrality, its calm approach to world affairs, suddenly finding itself singled out in a way that feels, well, personal. The question is, why? And what does that mean for both sides? Because, whether we admit it or not, tariffs aren't just about economics, they're about relationships. They're about the way nations talk to each other without words, through numbers, taxes, and percentages, and this particular number is loud. And here's where it gets even more interesting, or if you're in Switzerland's export sector, more painful, because yes, there are carve-outs. Gold, untouched. Pharmaceuticals, largely spared. Those industries walk away almost whistling past the customs booth. But when you average it all out, Switzerland is still staring at an effective tariff of just over 12%. 12% might not sound dramatic at first glance, but in the world of international trade, where even a 2% tariff can spark diplomatic tension, that's huge. So, in one move, the US isn't just raising prices, it's pressing directly on the pressure points of Swiss industry. And if that's not a strategic message, I don't know what is. And here's the sting. The thing Switzerland is most famous for, the products that have shaped its identity and its economy, were hit right away. Watches, machinery, industrial tools, and yes, even chocolate. It's like telling Italy, we'll let your olive oil slide, but we're taxing the pasta. These aren't just exports, they're part of the national story. What makes all this even more striking is the isolation of it. Switzerland isn't just getting a bad deal, it's getting a deal that nobody else seems to have. The European Union, they talked it down to an average 15% rate. The UK, 10%. Even Taiwan, a country walking a diplomatic tightrope and almost entirely dependent on US trade, managed to cap it at 20%, with built-in exemptions that soften the blow over time. So why Switzerland? Why the bullseye on a country that isn't exactly known for being aggressive on the world stage? Some point to last year's trade numbers. Switzerland ran a large trade surplus with the US, selling far more than it bought. That's the kind of imbalance that often makes Washington frown. But here's the thing, so did others, and yet they walked away with softer terms, which means there's more going on here than just the math of imports and exports. Part of Switzerland's predicament might be rooted in its own reliability. This is a country known for delivering on its commitments. The trains run on time, the contracts get honored, the promises stick. But in trade politics, reliability can be a double-edged sword. Unlike the EU or Japan, Switzerland doesn't have the sheer market size to hit back in a way that would make Washington think twice. There's no looming threat of Swiss sanctions that could rattle global markets, and that makes it an easy target, a country you can tax heavily without expecting a geopolitical storm in return. Still, There are some creative, even unorthodox ideas floating around. One of them is what some are calling the FIFA route. Roland Reno Buchel, a member of the Swiss People's Party, has suggested reaching out to Gianni Infantino, the Swiss-born president of FIFA and a longtime acquaintance of Donald Trump. Infantino was at Trump's inauguration. He was on the pitch with him at last month's Club World Cup final. President FIFA route. Some have gone as far as proposing that FIFA could shift its headquarters from Zurich to Miami as part of a grand, soft power gesture, a show of goodwill wrapped in sports diplomacy. Whether that's a serious strategy or just political theater remains to be seen. Big Swiss players like Roche and Partners Group are already working in the Washington corridors, lobbying hard to soften or reshape these tariffs before they start cutting too deeply into the balance sheets. And so, after all the back and forth, the lobbying, the diplomatic chess moves, Switzerland finds itself standing before a narrow crossroads. The options aren't exactly pleasant. It could offer politically sensitive concessions, giving up ground on issues that cut deep at home. It could push for a symbolic compromise, something that lets both sides walk away claiming victory while the real pain remains. This has been episode 1 of Innovation Views. If you found this story insightful, share, comment, subscribe, and join us as we explore more of the ideas, tensions, and innovations shaping our future.